Hey, I'm Katy Spaas, and I'm a world-renowned author and speaker on high sensitivity and a retired coach to professional artists and performers. Spotlight Stress is your guide to build confidence, find your superpower, and claim your shine. Our guest today is Eric Roberts. I don't even want to start by mentioning in what movies you might have seen him because the list is just too long. I've just enjoyed meeting you, Eric. Can you share a little bit about yourself? Because you're too famous to even start talking about everything that you've done from my end. But what made you enjoy Hollywood and making movies and sharing that part of your life with the world and inspire us again? What made you do this in the first place?
Okay, let me give everybody a quick rundown. I grew up in the southeast of the United States. I grew up in Atlanta and New Orleans, uh, mostly in Atlanta. And my father had a young people's acting school called the Actors and the Writers Workshop. And we were a repertory theater, and we had a showmobile. And we patterned ourselves after Joe Papp's Theater in New York. And that we toured the underprivileged areas all week. And then on weekends, we had a set up stage. We had a showmobile that we tour on. Then every weekend we had to set up stage in the park, Piedmont Park, and we do shows over the weekend there. And that's how I grew up, doing 8 to 12 plays every year of my life from the time I'm a little boy. And then I moved to New York in middle 1975 at 18, and met a casting director named Juliet Taylor, who introduced me to Bill Tresh, who at the time handled Chris Walken, Sissy Spacek, Carol Kane, Tom Berenger, Tom Hulse, and he signed me, and that's how I got started. And I've made lots and lots of movies for 43 years, and I've been very lucky in that I've seen the planet. And as an actor, I have the best job on our planet, and I know it. So I'm happy to be here with you today. So that's a quick rundown. What else do you want to?
Well, thank you so much. I do always pride myself for having the best job in the world. So I'm so happy that we're on the same page, even though we're doing different jobs. Hey, and you grew up in this acting company. I mean, that was your life. The way I grew up in horse world, that was my life. You grew up in acting world. Your sister is Julia Roberts, your daughter, your wife. I mean, everyone is so talented, so gifted. It's not just because in a lot of acting situations, it's one person doing the acting and the lives of the other people have to evolve sort of around that. But here's it's just everyone is super busy and has a crazy calendar and schedule. How is that working out for you guys?
It just is what it is. We're all very successful, and we all have a lot of fun. And we all say, "Hey, how are you doing?" "I'm good. I'm good. How are you?" "Happy holidays." "Okay, see you next week." And yeah, that's kind of what we do. We're like ships passing in the night, and but we all talk, we all say hi, and we all wave goodbye.
Yeah, that's nice that you still can make the time for that. What is the number one thing that you like to make time for in your free time?
Well, I have horses, so that's what I do in my free time is I ride my horses, and we have lots of animals. We have a squirrel sanctuary. I found a hurt squirrel about 15 years ago in our yard, and I took it to the shelter, and they made it well, and they called me and said that squirrel's well. Can we bring it back to your property? We said sure. So they did. And they go, "Oh, you have all these trees. Can we bring all the hurt squirrels here when they get well?" And since then, that's been about 15, 17 years. They brought about 300 squirrels, and our huge trees are like squirrel apartment buildings. There are all these nests in the trees, and they all live here, and we feed them. And it's a sanctuary for squirrels.
Well, that's just amazing. We've got two or three squirrels in our backyard. And when we look from our window outside, especially spring and summer, it's the coolest thing to see them in those trees. And we have our living area on the first floor. So it's like you're almost at that same level of them in the tree. And then it's brilliant to see them interact and having fun. And I'm so glad to hear that you're also an animal person, because to me, when I was growing up, I grew up in that horse world, and we also had dogs and cats and everything, and I still do. But to me, that was my sanctuary. That was my safe haven, because I always struggled interacting with people because that didn't feel so safe to me. So when I was with these animals, I could always be myself, 100% me. And that brought me the biggest peace and joy, just being and spending time with these animals, and especially horse riding. I always see that as therapy, because in this fast-paced world, our brain is going 200 miles an hour. And when you're working with your horse and you're partnering with your horse, then you have to be in the moment, because they'll let you know when you're not, right? So is that?
Well, like yourself, my grandfather raised in Tennessee walkers, so I was always around horses. And when I left home, I didn't have horses for several years, and then I had a couple of Appaloosas, and then I made a movie with Wayne Newton, and he gave me a horse, one of his Arabs. And when he gave her to me, he gave her to me while she was pregnant. So I ended up having two horses from
No.
Newton's line, and they're my babies. And that's what I do when I need to clear my head.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's the best therapy for me to just go out and even if it's just spending time with them, brushing them or going for a ride, or it doesn't matter. That's pure therapy. That's relaxing the brain. I'm so happy to hear that. And I saw that you and your lovely wife were spending time with the granddaughter. How is life when you're able to take those little moments and spend them with your precious family? Because I can see that you're really a family person, right?
Well, the easiest, most unpressured job in the world is being a grandparent. It's really wonderful. I
Yeah.
highly recommend it.
Yeah. I highly recommend it. Okay. I'll put that in my coaching as well. Get grandchildren. Oh, there's the cat. That's so nice. Animals bring just so much joy and company, good company in our lives. I think people who are alone, if they just would have animals, that would change so much for them.
Well, animals bring out the best in us humans.
Yeah,
All we have to do is pay attention.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. I was wondering, Eric, in your entire career, what was your most precious memory? It can be the biggest success or just something that brought you a lot of joy and fulfillment. What was that to you? Because you've done a lot. So I don't know if you can pick one.
Well, as far as big things, there's about 6 movies that are just my family. There is precious to me as my sisters and my daughters, but as far as moments go, it was probably when my manager came downstairs. I was in a donut shop downstairs from his office, and he came downstairs, 1986-ish, I forget now, and he says, "You just got nominated for an Academy Award." And I said, "No kidding. Oh my God. Okay, who wants a donut? I'm buying donuts." And so I bought everybody in the whole place a donut. A lot of people too, a lot of donuts. And we all ate a donut together. And somebody said, "Hey man, what's your name?" And I said, "Eric Roberts." And he said, "What'd you get nominated for?" And I said, "Runaway Train, blah, blah, blah." And the whole place was like, "Well, good luck. Hope you win." Blah. And it was the nicest moment of realism I maybe have ever had.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no, the birth of my daughter was probably the most realistic moment I ever had. But
but
this
that,
number two.
yeah, I would say that's an obvious one
I
when
mean,
you get a child.
sure.
So, Eric, what was in your career the biggest struggle that you've had to overcome, and how did you do that?
Well, probably the biggest thing I had to overcome is why I am an actor. And that is, I had a terrible stutter as a little boy, in that all my classmates would laugh at me whenever I'd read in class or talk, because it was a very embarrassing and very pronounced stutter. And it was on every single whoa, 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 whoa. It went on and on. It was very bad. And but I learned if I memorized things, I didn't have to think about what I was going to say, and I didn't stutter. I just talked. So acting first started out, because you had to learn the lines. So I would learn what I had to say, and I could speak without stuttering. So it became an exercise at first, and then it became fun, and then I got pretty good at it. So I decided at about 8 years old, I'd already been acting for 3 years. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to win an Academy Award one day. I'm going to win an Emmy one day. I'm going to win a Tony. Had all these plans. And it's all I ever pursued. And I got lucky enough that after I got out into the real world, I got seen and I got noticed and I got lucky, quite frankly.
I don't know if it would just be luck if you're a good actor. I
Well, but
probably also
here's the thing. There are many really good actors. I can consider myself a fine actor. I'm like very dependable, but there are lots of good actors who don't work, and I work pretty much since we got rid of film, so we don't have any middlemen anymore. We just have all these people who own their own cameras. They are their own like studio. They're all calling direct now, so I can work almost every single day of the year, and it's like a big thank you for staying relevant. they're
yeah.
all they're all, and it's the most wonderful time of my life. And I also got my favorite job I've ever had last year, and I still have it. It's on. I'm on a show called Righteous Gemstones on HBO. And
What's it about?
it's about I guess I'd call him an evangelist. It's about John Goodman's family, and John Goodman is the boss, and he owns and runs this church. And they had their first season. They became a hit, and we just shot the second season when I came on the show, and I play a guy who grew up with John Goodman, and I know where all the bodies are buried, as it were.
Ooh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's the best job I have ever had, and I've had some great jobs. This is my favorite job ever. All the people behind the camera, all the people in front of the camera are perfect.
And you just told me before we hit play, you just told me that you've been working on 4 different movies or roles. So do share what is coming out. What was it like for you to work with Damian Chazelle? Because I heard you mention that he's such a brilliant person to work with. Why is that? What is so brilliant about him that is so interesting for you as an actor to work with him?
Well, we can't talk about the movie. It's called Babylon, and it's directed by Damian Chazelle. He did Whiplash, and and um, and La La Land, and he's a very young guy. He's in his 30s, and he's just the coolest. And being on his set for me was like a calm version of being on a Bob Fosse set. And the Bob Fosse set's a little manic and a little dangerous feeling. His set is, Damien's set is very calm and easy and busy and crowded, and lots of crew, lots of cast, and it's like being thrown back in time into old Hollywood. It's just incredible. And it was a movie about old Hollywood, so it made it even more so. And Damian Chazelle might have become my new favorite director of all time because I saw all of his work as I got ready to go work for him. And having worked for him, he's really a wonderfully kind, intelligent, specific director. I'm just crazy for him.
Oh, that's so nice. I can imagine that does a lot when you're on set, and these are people that you have to work with all the time. Have you had other experiences as well where you feel like where you get insecure as an actor, or is that something that it doesn't really affect you as a person?
Uh, if I ever get insecure, I know I'm not ready to be there. So insecurity is a big signal to there might be a problem. So that's not anything I have felt really since 1978. But that's also because I'm a homework fanatic. I do so much work at home that no matter what goes out on the set, I'm ready for it. It's not an issue for me, and I love that because uh, I like to do all the overactory things. I build myself backstories and back people and back relationships and all kinds of stuff. So I have all this ammunition. So no matter what gets thrown at me, I have answers, and it's just fun for me. It's like some some people do jigsaw puzzles. I do character background.
Okay, that's amazing. That's well, we have a saying in Dutch, but that's like really bringing the job home and keep on doing it. So you've really made your job out of your hobby, actually, and it still is. And I think that's really cool to see because after so many years in the industry, that is amazing. I think that's asks for a lot of respect as well.
Well, not to sound too corny, but I've seen the planet. I've seen the whole thing, all but the Arctic. I've seen the whole planet, and I have the best job on the planet, and I know that.
But that's great. And now, so does your daughter. How is that for you as a father to see your daughter follow in your footprints or footsteps?
It's so much fun, but it doesn't feel like she's following in my footsteps here because she's a girl. It's like watching a whole other vocation because it's parts that I don't identify with, and and she's good and she's fun to watch, and
She
she's great.
is. She is. I've watched her. She's doing a great job.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
and she's my baby, so it's fun to watch.
I can imagine that is very interesting to see her following her own path in the same industry and seeing her blossom, and yeah, must be cool. Do you ever share tips, or is that something like she's really doing her own thing, or do you really discuss roles and characters or
As a father, you always stand by. They might want to know something that you might have an answer for, but guess what? They don't ask.
they never ask?
It's okay. It is what it is.
Never ask her
I didn't
parents,
ask
do
either. I never asked either.
we? I can imagine that that's the way it works. Okay, and I just heard you say that you do a lot of homework. So to me, that is like the highest level of preparation, which is probably one of the reasons why you excel at what you do. Is there another routine or exercise or thing that you do to make sure that you excel when you're on stage or when you're ready to, let the cameras roll?
Well, this is my tool. This is my instrument. So I'm in the gym every single day. And if I'm on location and there isn't a gym, I'm on the floor at least doing my stomach every single day. Because I find when you wake up the body properly, when you stimulate the body, you also stimulate the brain. It's all connected. It's all each other. And you just have to put it together. And I do, because this is what I work with. I don't use machines. I don't use paper. I don't use anything except this instrument. So I keep it in shape. Sometimes I have to gain weight. Sometimes I have to lose weight, but I take aim and I do it very specifically. It's not a game. It's not a hobby. It's my job and I love it.
Yeah, and I can imagine that that can be demanding on your body because sometimes we don't reflect on that, but for some parts you have to gain a lot of weight, and for others you have to lose weight, and it can lead to unhealthy situations. So yeah, how do you
But
cope with
like an
that?
athlete, you have to do it properly. You can't
Yeah,
just eat a bunch of Reese's if you have to gain 5 pounds. You have to do it properly, and it like makes you take the external stuff you more seriously, as opposed to just, oh well, it'll happen or not. You take it very seriously, and it all bleeds into the core, which is the project. It all bleeds into that, and you're there for the project. You're not there for you. It's called show business and not called show self. And so you're there for the project. That's your business. And when you're on board and you're on the same page as your writer, director, uh, cinematographer, producer, when you're all on the same page, you usually can make a masterpiece, because film is asking for masterpieces. It's such a beautiful format. Even though they did take film, we have HD now. So it's not beautiful anymore, but it is still the same presentation.
yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
It is. It is. And it inspires people, and it brings joy and laughter when you need it, or it can take you into an entire different world when you feel like that is what you want to experience. So actually you are delivering experiences for us, the public, the audience. What is your favorite kind of character or role to play? Do you have like a favorite, or is that not something that do you love just all different, or is there one type?
I like fish out of water, a guy who's in a circumstance he does not belong in, like anything from King of the Gypsies, The Pub Greenwich Village, to Star 80, to Runaway Train, to It's My Party, to Love Is a Gun. Those are just half a dozen movies about people who are in something, or they're doing something, or they're some place they shouldn't be. That's your conflict, that's your story, and that's fun to play.
That's fun to play. Is that because do you like tap into personal experience, or is that just something that out of the blue you create from nothing actually? How does that
I'm like
work?
an 8-year-old boy. I make it up as I go along, and I believe it.
There you go. Yeah, you believe it. I think that's probably the best advice that you could also give any colleague, actor, or even singer, that just you have to believe it. That's the most essential thing, because then as an audience, as a viewer, you believe it. When you believe it, I believe it.
If you don't believe it, if I don't believe it, I can't make you believe it.
No, no. Is there like a routine to get into that character?
Of course there is, but it's like now I'm not being cute, so don't think I'm playing games with this. It's like sex. We all know how to have sex. We all know the mechanics of sex. But up until you experience it, you don't know where it takes you spiritually, emotionally. It's wow, it's so incredible. And it's the same thing with acting. We can do the mechanics, you learn our lines, hit our marks, have our makeup, have our clothes right, but up until you're there in the moment, you don't know how incredible it is. And it is a gift. It is an artistic gift to be able to be in those moments. And I get to do it for a living. How lucky am I?
I think you are the luckiest bastard alive if I hear you talk.
Good girl.
It's so happy. It makes me happy to see you filled with so much joy and passion for what you do. So I can imagine that you've been working on 4 movies at the same time that will be released. Is there anytime soon that they'll be released? What can we expect from you?
Who like tells you better than I can about me is imdb.com. That can give you dates and titles and places much better than I can. And I'm the world's worst because they change a lot of movie titles, and I'm the last person to find out. So I'll be talking about a movie for months and months and months. It isn't even a movie anybody's heard of or going to hear of. So we'll go to imdb.com. That can tell you everything that I will tell you incorrectly.
Okay. That's perfect. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for sharing all of this beautiful information with us. Is there anything else that, as a final tip or quote or inspiration, you would like to share?
Yeah, there's so many people now in charge who aren't movie makers. And there's so many people making movies who aren't movie makers, but they're all in it. So for all you guys that want to stay in it, treat everybody in this industry like they're going to be your boss next week, because they might be.
I think that's brilliant. And I think that is, yeah, that applies to all of us,
Good.
Because even like today, the cleaning lady was at our house, and if she wouldn't be here, I mean, that I would be lost without her, to be honest. So we
rest my
need to
case.
respect all the people. When they clean the toilets, well, bless them, because we can sit on a clean toilet. And I think that's very important in life, that you feel appreciative of the people who are doing whatever it is they're doing. Definitely. Wow, that's a beautiful way to end our conversation. Thank you so much for your time, Eric. I've enjoyed it, and we'll talk soon. Bye.